The London Antifascist group just posted an update on their status. It looks like they've had an altercation, perhaps with Patriotic Alternative, and they've seized a banner and a couple of cameras. This gives me the indication that there was some sort of struggle, altercation, rather than them picking up what the Patriotic Alternative left behind. Of course, it could just be a bunch of lies, but you do start wondering where they got this banner from, and that banner does look awfully familiar. It looks awfully similar to the one that was used in the Peak District, I believe. This does not look good for Patriotic Alternative, and you do start wondering why they were carrying cameras. If you're going to be operating in a covert and swift fashion, pulling off this type of stunt, I don't even believe Generation Identity, when they were pulling off stunts like this, I don't even believe they would have been carrying cameras. People have phones. Everybody's got a camera on their phone. Why do you need camera equipment? It doesn't make any sense. It could just be a bunch of lies, the bit about the cameras, but like I say, they've got that banner which does look similar to the one which was used in the Peak District. This is what they write. Anti-fascists seized a 12-metre White Lives Matter banner from the new fascist party Patriotic Alternative PA in London this morning. They love to use these labels such as the F label or the N label. PA are trying to hijack the UN's Indigenous Peoples Day. Hold on, so that seems a little unfair because they are indigenous people to Britain. Should they not be part of this day as well? They go on to push a R message, which they hope will undermine the Black Lives Matter movement. I just don't believe this has anything to do with BLM or a response to BLM. They are also hoping to generate viral coverage for their new party, which is led by the former BNP youth leader Mark Collett. They had been walking around central London in the early hours of the morning, taking photographs with the banner at several landmarks, but they were interrupted by anti-fascists. Again, that's an indication that it seems like there was some sort of scuffle. How did this group find out where the PA activists were? Is there a mall in the camp? How did they get this information to intercept them? I seem to recall a couple of months ago, one of these organizations, maybe the same organization, was posting something on Facebook claiming to have intercepted a meeting, a London meeting of PA representatives or PA affiliates. You've got to start asking questions here. Is there a mole in the camp? Has PA been infiltrated? The banner has now been destroyed. They are also missing 2 cameras. We've had a response from Lauren Southern. Mrs. Southern's responded to Jason Wilson's Guardian article. She says on Twitter, Jason Wilson spends most of this incredibly slanderous article perplexed, searching for an explanation as to why I took a hiatus. A cursory Google search would tell you I got married and had a baby. Try doing journalism next time, bud. Okay, so it turns out she's living in Australia, which I was completely unaware of. I did have a quick gander at Mr. Wilson's article, and all that was really, that article just ran through a litany of Lauren Southern's past statements and actions, which was designed to repel the average Guardian reader and to try and discourage conservatives in Australia, because apparently they're working with, or they're willing to work with, Mrs. Southern. It's Mrs. Southern now rather than Miss. We've got to keep that in mind, especially you simps out there. It's really just serving as a stick to beat any Australian conservative who will be working with her in the future. Mr. Wilson does mention Mrs. Southern has indicated that she's positioning herself as a centrist. You've got to ask, what's the difference between her then and Matthew Collins of Hope Not Hate, or Mr. Nawaz of LBC? Did they not both come from radical positions, extremist positions, and move over to a leftist position? Now, you'd believe that Mrs. Southern was on a radical right position. Now she's moved over, according to her statements, a more centrist position. What's the problem here then? Because if you've got no issues with Mr. Collins and Mr. Nawaz, then what's the problem with Mrs. Southern moving over and becoming mainstream?